Hi guys, it's myself Harry and we're with Jade Lotus. We're going to talk about Taoist sexual alchemy, Jade. So Jade, hi, what is Taoist sexual alchemy?
So alchemy is also another word for transformation or transmutation. So it basically means like transforming sexual energy. Now if we want to talk about it in like the most like basic way, yeah, we can imagine like a feeling of horniness or sexual frustration, and we can imagine transforming that into like maybe a feeling of self-confidence or a feeling of love or self-love. Now, obviously, this is a really abstract idea, right? Because how are we going to do that? Yeah. Now, simply put, in the body, we have a natural energy flow. It's not the only natural energy flow, but we have one energy flow which travels up our body. We can say there's a central channel that goes from the perineum to the top of the head, and it comes up through our body, and it goes through three energy centers, which is called the lower dantian here in the belly, the middle dantian here in the heart, and the upper dantian here in our third eyes. Okay, so let's say if we talk about a person who's in the most unconscious level of existence, and maybe for example the way they're existing is they get hungry, they eat, they get horny, they fuck, you know, this is just the level they're at. There's no kind of thought process of what's going on, and there's a certain as well disconnection, you know, which is inevitably what's happening to most of us in this society, is that there's a disconnection from our true self and our true nature, and basically we kind of end up operating from a kind of like, let's say like a low level sort of instinctive like, oh, I'm horny, I gotta fuck, or something like that, you know. So that means like that the energy, what actually is happening is that that energy is not moving up our bodies at all. Yeah. Now, how does this energy channel get blocked? Yeah, good question. Because what I actually have observed is like when you see a kid and a kid is sitting there and the kid's sitting in the classroom and the kid wants to wriggle. Yeah. Now, why is that kid wriggling? Yeah, because when we wriggle, we're moving the energy up our body. Now, one way, if I want to move energy up my body, I might just do a wriggle. So the kids are wriggling, they're trying to move their energy up the body, and we're sitting there going, no, don't wriggle. And then we're putting on them ideas of shame around their genitals, shame around their sexuality. So instead of the sexual energy doing this lovely flow up the body, the sexual energy is all getting stuck down there. And this especially can happen to us if we're kind of grow up with like very religious ideas about shaming, about sexuality, where maybe like the worst is actually when people are just not talking to us about sex. And then the sexual energy just gets stuck down there, and it just turns into an endless cycle of frustration and what sometimes is referred to as sex addiction. Okay, so the first step of any kind of like energy progress, if we're going to look at it in a kind of like a scientific way, let's look at it in a scientific way, is like, say, okay, we have these feelings of horniness, which loosely we can call Jing energy, physical energy. So what the first thing what we want to do is we want to bring this Jing energy into our dantian, the lower dantian, which is like a kind of like a transformation field. So when the Jing energy comes here, the physical energy, which you can say it's kind of like almost like iron ore, it comes here into the lower dantian. It's like a cooking pot where the sexual frustration starts to transform. And as it transforms, yeah, imagine we've got a pot, we've put a fire underneath it, and steam is coming out of the pot. So steam is coming up, out of the pot, is coming up, and is coming up into our body. And what's happening is the Jing, the sexual frustration, is turning into Qi. Qi is just energy, like vital energy. It's energy that allows us to heal. It's energy that gives us the strength to do things, what we want in life. So suddenly, instead of being sort of like ruled by sexual frustration, what's actually happening is we have like loads more energy, because the first process of transformation of the Jing energy and the sexual frustration has been that we're now getting more energy in our body. So instead of being locked up from our life force, we have the life force here in our bodies. And as the life force comes up, it hits the second dantian, or the second transformation field, which is here in our hearts. So what happens is the Qi starts to fill up our hearts, and basically in our hearts it starts to transform again, and what happens is it starts transforming into another kind of energy, which is called Shen energy. I like to just call Shen energy love. Yeah, obviously Jing energy is more than just sexual energy, Qi energy is more than vitality, Shen energy is more than love. But let's just look at it in these terms. So once our sexual energy has managed to come up here and reach our heart, which actually relies on us having an open heart, so our heart being open to our partner, being open to our lover, being open to sort of like whatever's going on, yeah, basically, then we start getting this love energy, and the love energy, it starts to basically like spread all around through our chest, through our shoulders, and it starts to come up into our head. So now we've kind of the third process, you know, the Shen energy. The Shen energy is coming up and into our head. And in our head, it's basically getting into our pineal gland and into what in yoga is called the third eye. So this area inside our brain that houses the pineal gland, the pituitary gland, and the hypothalamus gland, this area, the Taoists, they call it the crystal palace, right? So once we've got the process that the energy is coming up through our heart, and it's coming up and it starts to fill our pineal gland, what happens is we actually start to get like a light feeling inside our brain. So it's almost like we literally can shut our eyes and be in the dark, and we still feel a light inside the brain. So this is kind of like enlightenment in a way, because I think it's where the word enlightenment comes from, because we have this light inside our brain. And what happens is that the Shen then transforms into the original Tao energy. So it's like the pure spirit energy of the universe. So this all starts with basically like sexual energy. So if we're blocked off from our sexual energy, because some traditions will start and working just on the energy here, but the problem is, you know, perhaps this is going to work for someone living in a tribe, you know, in the jungle, where they're completely in tune with sort of the nature, and their bodies are completely unblocked. But if their bodies are blocked, the energy is not going to be flowing up. So to just try to like work on like the spiritual energy, which most religions, they do this. They just want to ignore the body, even like vilify the body. Yeah, you're going to just end up with your body getting sick. By the way, I've got a dog here, and my little doggy here, she's on heat. So I can't let go of her. She's horny as anything, poor thing, you know. So that's why we're sometimes getting these little jolts on the lead. But she wants to go off and play, but sadly she's got to spend 3 weeks not being able to play. So anyways, this is basically what sexual alchemy is about. Okay, so how do we do this process? Now, there's some exercises we could maybe talk about on another video, but if we start with a guy, you know, and you just get a hand, yeah, and you can cup your balls, yeah. Now, as women, yeah, women, we have the sexual organs of the man on an energetic level, and the man has the sexual organs of the woman on an energetic level. So it's actually good for us to do both the masculine and feminine exercises to get in touch with like both our inner masculine and our inner feminine. So I'm going to just get in touch here with my inner masculine, and I'm going to put my hand down here, and I'm going to feel my energetic testicles. I'm going to just give them a little rub, you know. And especially for guys, if you do this, you're going to notice a sensation. We can say that sensation is hormones being released. It's Jing energy. Okay, we can feel this, and for some guys it's kind of like a horny feeling. It's a pleasurable feeling. So some guys could be immediately tempted to start masturbating. So instead of going into this temptation, what we're going to do is we're going to enjoy the relaxing feeling. We're going to, for women, we can also stroke the vagina if that helps, you know, and we're going to get that feeling. We're going to relax, and we're going to breathe. And instead of getting further into further stimulation, we're going to relax, and we're going to breathe very, very slowly in and out. And as we breathe in, we're going to allow the sexual energy to move up the central channel of the body. And as we exhale, we'll allow the energy to drop down the front again. And now we can just take the hands away from the genitals, and we can keep connected with that energetic feeling. And we can just keep breathing in and out, and we can feel this life force energy, and we can feel how sacred this life force energy is, and that it's really like so powerful that just a small amount of it can literally create a new life. And we can also understand that when it comes into our body, it actually gives us the power to literally regenerate our body on a cellular level. So if you've watched Mantak Chia, you're going to be surprised probably to find out he's almost 80 years old. And when you're watching like a lot of his instructors, I mean, most of us, people think we're quite significantly younger than what we actually are, you know. The reason is we're just massaging our breasts, massaging our sexual organs, releasing the sexual energy, and we're bringing the energy back into our bodies, and the energy is going into our 7 glands. It is actually rejuvenating the glands, and especially rejuvenating the thymus gland from the heart. And this is an anti-aging effect, because we actually age because our thymus gland basically stops working. So actually, if we suffer heartbreak, we can really age really quickly, because it's a massive knock-on effect of the thymus gland. So just to finish this interview, I'm going to say that the most important thing about basically sexual alchemy is actually to have an open heart. We shouldn't be practicing this from a place of ego. We shouldn't be doing it thinking, I mean, sure, okay, it gives you amazing orgasms. It gives you feeling in your whole body that's like so beautiful. Like, it's almost like, it feels like my whole body becomes like sensitive and pleasurable like a vagina, you know? But then that's a great part of it, but that's kind of like a side effect, yeah? You know, what's so important is actually to open our heart to love. Because when the Jing energy, or the sexual energy, which is like water energy from the kidneys, comes up, and it combines with the fire energy in the heart, is actually the blue combines with the red, it mixes together, and there's like a catalytic conversion, and it converts into a purple kind of energy, and the purple energy that just then spreads through our whole body, and the energy goes into our cells and starts to heal the cells. So basically this purple energy is like the same as the violet light in the universe. So it's like we're creating this universal violet light, which literally is so powerful. It can cure cancer, it can cure like anything inside our bodies. I mean, I cured myself. Years ago, I went to the doctor and I was diagnosed with having these cells on my cervix that they wanted to remove part of my cervix, and I just refused, and I just practiced this, you know, I practiced inner smiling, sexual alchemy, transforming, and then I went back and they were surprised to say there was no problem. You know, they almost wanted to kind of create a problem because they couldn't understand how it had gone away on its own. But this is like powerful to heal, like, you know, almost anything that we can, certainly anything we've got wrong with our body at a cellular structural level, if we really put our intention, we can heal it, you know. So sexual alchemy is just, it's just an incredible step, where we go from the step of, you know, we have the chi, we work on our chi, we work on our emotions, and the sexual alchemy is kind of like the next step. And it's actually like, what I find like so magical about it is like basically every single person has the horny feeling. We all want sex, and we kind of all want love on some sort of level. Whether we're blocked from getting these things or not is another question, but we all want it. And just through the sexual feeling, and the sexual feeling combined with love, this energy can travel up our body, it can travel up our body, and it can travel into our brain, into our pineal gland, and it can literally like activate the pineal gland to the extent that we're having like a complete like DMT sort of like psychedelic experience without having to take any kind of like entheogen, external things. And it literally opens us up to the universe, it opens us up to like enlightenment, it opens us up to health, and it's literally just the most magical thing that, you know, we can imagine. And it's just here inside our own bodies. It's a process waiting to happen, and if we just can find a way and learn to get back in touch with that sexual energy, it's just the most amazing thing.